going to start our Chapter 8 of Assessment as Learning, titled Using Assessment to Make Connections. So if you all could take out your journals, we're going to start with a quick little warm-up. We got one fun question and then one sort of serious but still kind of fun question. So once you get that opened up, find a blank page in there, and first I want you to tell me your favorite food, and then separate bullet point, I want you to ask, what is the type of connection that can be used in assessment? Take 3 to 5 minutes, and we'll reconvene shortly. All right, wrap up your thoughts. Take about maybe another 30 seconds or so. Wrap it up, and then we'll go around and share. All right. Does anybody want to go first? Anybody have a particular interest?
I guess I can go. Like both of the questions?
Yep.
Okay, I like kielbasa, which is like a Polish sausage or whatever. And then I said connecting previous learning to current learning, maybe, in assessment.
Yeah, that's good. Kielbasa's delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I said my favorite food was donuts. And then type of connection that can be used in assessment is like making inferences while you read the text.
Yeah, that's good. That's really important. Elijah?
I don't have a favorite food. And for connection, I said like feedback.
Yeah. You don't have a single favorite? You just like food? Just food?
It's okay. It's a necessity.
And Ben?
I said my mom's meatloaf, and I also said like past to current learning.
Gotcha. Dr. Brown, favorite food?
I mean, maybe I'm the opposite of Elijah. I like pretty much all food with a few exceptions. But I have to say, for my birthday, I had my wife make, which she has many years, taco meatloaf. I had that meatloaf years, but taco meatloaf is delicious.
How does one make taco meatloaf?
Good question. You kind of stick a bunch of, well, there's the taco type seasoning, but you basically stick, I think, a bunch of cheese and sour cream inside of it.
Oh.
And it's, yeah,
Interesting.
but I don't know.
I'll have to try that. I don't know. That's fun. No. All right, that's really good. All of you guys kind of have a sort of a background knowledge of connection. You did a good job using your previous knowledge there. So in today's lesson, we'll go over our objectives really quick. We want to understand how assessment helps students make connections in learning. Identify strategies for planning instruction and assessment together, and explore ways to adapt assessment when student learning takes unexpected directions. So what is the big idea? So assessment as learning is about helping students make sense of learning by connecting new knowledge to what they already know and can do. That's actually a direct quote from the textbook. I forgot what page it's on. I was in my notes, but my notes aren't showing up, so it's on one of the pages. And as you can see in this little graphic organizer chart, for a correct and proper assessment, you should be using connections and connecting that to learning before giving an assessment. And then, why do the connections matter? So, I'm sure you all can relate as students yourselves, that you can probably learn more when you connect new content to your prior knowledge, or when you can connect one subject to another, or connect a classroom reading to a real world application. I guess we can go around really quick. Has anybody, raise your hand if you guys have used new content to prior knowledge connection before in a classroom? Yeah. How about connecting one subject to another, like social studies to reading, or math to reading, math to science? And then classroom learning to real world application. I'm sure probably that's the most common, since you go to school to learn stuff. And then without these connections, I think we can all agree that assessment becomes less meaningful. Like filling out an answer to a question probably for most of us becomes easier if we can find a way to connect it to something else that we already know. What is the role of a teacher? As a teacher, we want to make the curriculum visible to all the students. We want to make students able to understand things. We want to clarify learning goals and criteria. And then we want to plan the assessment and the instruction together. And then use the assessment data to adapt and bridge across learning experiences. That's the big one where we take our connections and try and connect everything together in like a web to help students grow knowledge. And then we want to encourage students to articulate how their learning connects. And this also helps students learn a little better. Expecting the unexpected. Assessment should uncover understanding. So if a response of a student comes as a surprise, we want to view this as evidence of thinking rather than an error. We want to ask, what connection is the student trying to make? And then we want to use it as a teaching moment to strengthen links. So no matter realistically what a student answers to a question, there's always going to be a way to connect it back to learning and help other students in the class learn as well as the student that answered the question. Overall, we want to design all of our assessments to try and build connections for students. We want to try and link prior knowledge we want to include links to prior knowledge in units. That's why probably a lot of your high school classes follow a curriculum that links and overlaps. So a lot of your content that you, let's say, learn in 6th grade probably gets reviewed in, let's say, 9th or 10th grade before those topics are expanded. We want to include connections to real world applications. I know the big one for me, when I went through school, was connecting like science. In my science classes, we would try and connect all of those exams to real world applications, like doing hands-on activities or including like questions based on real world applications. And then we want to include opportunities for connection to learning. So through an assessment, we want to be able to connect the prior knowledge of students and the other lessons that we're teaching in order for students to grow. And we want to create flexibility for varied response so we can help promote students to connect to their own personal thinking. So next, we're going to have a little discussion here. I want you guys to think of an assessment that you've taken, and then I want you guys to pretend you're in the shoes of the teacher and write down how you would change that assessment to make better connections for your students if you were giving that exam. How about we, Ben, could you slide forward here? Join up. let's reverse the order that we went the first time here. We'll start with you, Ben. What was an assessment that you've taken that you, like, what was your assessment? Describe it.
So it was a research paper in my AP English class. It wasn't the AP test, but, it was a research paper in my AP English class where we got to choose a topic, but, personal anecdotes were not allowed, within the research paper. And I feel like if you're going to allow someone to choose a topic, that they are passionate about, they should be allowed to speak on it in terms of themselves.
Yeah, I like that. That's really interesting that it wasn't allowed. I never took AP English, so I don't really know how that assessment was given, but that's really good. I think that personal connection there is probably really important. Probably would have helped make writing the paper probably a lot easier, made a lot more sense. Elijah?
Mine is like fast facts. I had to complete like 100 simple multiplication problems in like 1 minute. This is elementary school. I have to change that. I would either like provide more time or spend other time doing like different activities to help with memorization, because like the purpose of it was to memorize the facts. So
That's a lot of questions in 1 minute.
I still don't have my math facts memorized.
I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can do that either. Tyler?
I picked the SAT, just cause I remember when I took it, it was a lot, and it's kind of notorious now for being biased towards, more privileged students and upper class students. So I think I would try and make the vocabulary more inclusive and just more reader friendly, and using the reading segments to have like more real world scenarios. Like I remember the reading passages I had to read was about like crafting oil. It's like not everyone can make not everyone knows what that is first of all, but not everyone can also just make a connection with that and interest in that.
Yeah, that's a good one. Standardized tests, like the SAT, ACT, yeah, that's a good one. Autumn?
I mean, I just took a calc test this morning, and, like, my professor doesn't do, like, end of the semester, like, cumulative,